And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored, or to The Factor Uncensored. Tonight, the zombie genre of television is getting new life thanks to HBO's The Last of Us. If you don't watch it, you're in the minority, with more than 21 million viewers every Sunday night. It's already one of the highest rated shows this year. It's set in the middle of an apocalypse where a deadly fungus takes over the world and its victims. Thankfully, it is not reality, but if we're Texans, we would be screwed. A study says the Lone Star State is the second least prepared in the country for a zombie apocalypse. Let's turn it over to our next guests who are here on The Factor Uncensored, the owner of HTX Tactical, Gun Shop, George Abrego, and Doomsday Prepper, Thomas Bills. Do you constantly prepare for the end of the world?
Well, everything but this, I think.
And of course, when you see this study, and it's all fun and games,
right?
But you know I'm obsessed with zombies, and I said, let's begin the show with this.
Cool.
Because there's always a possibility of the world ending. So why aren't we prepared in Texas? We carry more guns than any other state, and George can attest to that. Are we arrogant just because of the guns, and we're not fully prepared? What?
Well, if you read the study, which I unfortunately did, they based it on population. So all the high populated states lost, like Texas, California, Florida.
Which means because there's so many people, you can never quite be prepared.
Well, no, I think it means because there's so many people, it would spread so quickly. And to that I say, you've never been to West Texas, have you? There's lots of open space out there.
Right, right.
So it's just the way it was written. I have a couple issues with the weapons, and he and I were talking about too. Yeah, it was a crazy study.
And so, George, what is your issue with this study that says we are not prepared for the apocalypse, the end of the world, if the zombies took over?
So here's the deal. You know, first of all, there's a lot of damn guns in Texas. We got guns. We're packing heat.
Yes.
We are very well armed.
But could that make us arrogant and not fully prepared?
You know what? It goes beyond the gun. So it goes.
We're talking about bunkers. We're talking about food.
Exactly.
We're talking about
bunkers,
water.
Food. We're talking knives. We're talking homesteading. We're talking growing your own food. We're talking.
And you need that hatchet to cut heads off.
Exactly. You know, your baton's not going to work for these zombies. You know, you got to know how to use it.
Bring up my baton. That's private, George.
And you got to know how to use these weapons. I say it all the time. Education. Educate yourself on proper use of these weapons. A weapon that you don't know how to use is going to be useless. So you got to be ready, and you got to know how to shoot and how to use those.
But back to my original question, where they say we're not prepared, but we have the highest number of firearms in the country right here in this state. Is it because we have that and we're not doing the rest?
So I think whoever wrote this article, like he said, it was just, they've never been to Texas. They don't know how we roll. You know, we're different down here. We're ready for these zombies. I say bring them on.
And so for you, and you've been prepping and will continue to prep.
Yep.
What is it like at your home if there is something that occurs, whether it's zombies or any other attack in this country?
You know, I was talking about that with one of my old Army buddies, and one of the things that we talked about was I'm going to stay at my house. I mean, all my stuff is at my house. And too many times in these zombie movies, people take off and run. And so, you know, my plan would be to stay in place for at least, 30 days, if not longer, and kind of see if it'll blow over, or just, kind of let things settle down. The worst thing you can do in a case like this is run.
But I have watched documentaries. I've watched documentaries on the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And there are a certain number of days before and weeks before your own neighbors turn against you.
Yeah, I can handle that.
So, I mean, you would still stay in your house because people you think you know that have been your neighbors for years will turn against you in order to survive. They need what you may have that you may have stockpiled in your home.
I guarantee you I can defend my home.
What does that mean?
Kind of like my friend here, I've got enough weapons and ammo and the knowledge how to use them that I feel very confident in my ability to defend what I have.
And would you be willing to take the life of your neighbor that you've known for years?
Well,
obviously they're going to turn against you.
If they're zombies, sure.
No, not zombies.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about regular survival, because we know in all zombie movies and TV shows, the worst monster out there is still the human, not the actual zombie.
You know, that's very difficult. You know, I served in Iraq. I've been to war. I know what it's like to end someone's life, and you don't take that lightly.
Right.
But obviously, when you're talking about a matter of survival, you know, the first thing that I would do is try to help my neighbors before I would do anything dangerous to them. I'd try to help them first.
And you've studied this just like I have.
Yeah.
How soon before we see the collapse of a government if there was an apocalyptic event in this country?
Well, last time I was here, you and I talked about an EMP, right? And so something like that happens, the government...
And explain that really quick.
Electromagnetic pulse.
Okay.
Like China detonating a nuclear bomb over our country, wiping out all the electronics. In that case, the government would fail pretty quick. I mean, it'd be a matter of weeks before it would fail, because everything's based on computers. And so that's why I would say stay in your house and hold on to what you got.
And George, what would be your best advice? Stay in your house, try to move around, figure out what's going on, what?
No, I would definitely agree, stay in your house. You know, that's where your equipment is at. You don't want to leave your home. You want to, like you were saying, you want to be prepared to do whatever it takes to defend your home. It's where your family's going to be at, where your loved ones are going to be at. It's where you live. I'm not going to leave my house. Why leave when everything is there? I'm going to be on the rooftop, and I'm going to have my sniper rifle, and I'm going to be taking zombies out 200+ yards.
And so, really quick, what should you have? And we're not just talking about zombies now, but there could be something else that goes wrong. I mean, even the pandemic, we found ourselves looking for stuff that was no longer there and available. How many weeks of supplies would you put in place?
I mean, you start with 72 hours, and then you build from there. You know, I've got probably a year's supply of food and water, and then, you know, obviously you want to have weapons and also, you know, ways to get food like fish and hunt and also seeds. And so, you know, you want to have, you know, I look long term, but start with 72 hours and then build up.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on only on The Factor can you get the zombie apocalypse preparations.